All right, so if you've been following me for a while, then you know I have a habit of criticizing the manosphere and manosphere adjacent people. They, along with like conservatives and Aaron Yeager fans, as you all found out last video, probably get the most smoke from me regularly on both of my channels. And for this, I get a lot of flack and criticism, which is expected. And this creates the user responses that I'm a simp for black women, or black women make up the whole of my audience, which is why I'm scared to criticize them. And this is very much coming out of my most recent main channel video, Swirl Economics, AKA, I think I just changed the name to something with Umar Johnson, because niggas love clicking on Umar Johnson. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out. And yeah, niggas is mad. Niggas is a little mad in the comments. A lot of black women mad in the comments too. I'll get to them later. But I want to address this simping allegation. Do I simp for black women? Yes. I love black women. I don't like y'all niggas. It's an easy decision to make. Sorry. However, I also want to address this theory that because I simp for black women, that they make up most of my audience. That is not true. And I've told y'all niggas this several times now, and y'all keep saying this. Like, I keep hearing y'all repeat this in my comment section. I even watched some brother's video the other day, and he kept on saying this over and over. And it's like, I know I have proved this to these gentlemen once before, but since I need to do it again, let's run them numbers one more time. When I last showed my gender analytics last year during the Black Manosphere video, I was at around 63, 65% men, and now I'm in the low 70s. I am maidenless over here. It's like high school all over again. For all of my simping for black women, it is not working. Ladies, please come back. While I wish I had a larger woman following, I do acknowledge that I tend to be far more male-centered, and that is not something that I plan to change. I think I should be playing that specific role of talking about men's issues from a more progressive perspective with my platform. Obviously, I'm not changing that, and I appreciate all the women and black women that have stuck along for the ride as I do that. However, to be very clear to the manosphere niggas in the audience, that, as you see, does not mean my audience is made up of women. It is greatly a sausage fest. And so the next thing the manosphere dudes are going to say is that this must mean my audience is mostly non-black men or white men, which is just more wishful thinking on their end. While I'd wager that this 70-ish% probably includes a lot of non-black men, that's greatly because I do plenty of videos that bring in a non-black male audience, such as my early videos on the manosphere, or anime, or male desirability, or hip hop, which we know brings in a nice sized non-black audience. But when you look at my videos that are clearly black oriented, that are not going to bring in a huge white audience, you see that they're some of my most watched videos. And if you look in the comments section and compare that to my analytics, then you're going to see that it is clearly a lot of black men. My video on black love has over 500,000 views and is predominantly, by a small margin, men. My video on the black manosphere is well over 500,000 views, and its viewers are predominantly men by a wider margin. My video on black men's sexuality has over 1 million views, and it is predominantly men by a wide margin. My most watched video this year, soon to be my most watched video period, is my second black conservatives video with 2 million views. And if you look in the comments, it's obviously black people, 77% male audience. This idea that some people keep trying to repeat and spread about my content and my views being so unpopular with black men, and that no real self-respecting masculine black men would ever really listen to fdsignifire, is why niggas don't really listen to y'all. Why y'all can barely get 100 people to show up for a live stream. Last time y'all said this nonsense, I had like 350,000 subscribers between 2 channels. And today I have nearly 750,000 between 2 channels. Guys, gentlemen, you're supposed to respect logic and data over emotions. Let this one go. You are embarrassing yourselves. Y'all are the outliers, not me. The paradoxical thing I think y'all don't get is that I'm a nerd, right? I have been very open about my social awkwardness when I was younger. And one of the reasons why I talk so much about the manosphere and incels and stuff like that is because I can imagine a timeline where had all this online stuff existed, that I could have fell into that stuff at a younger age, because much like you guys, I had the same isms and insecurity and views on the world and women that led to that type of ideology. And thankfully, I found my way out without doing what some of y'all niggas do. One of the things that helped pull me out of that type of ideological black hole is I looked at what men I aspired to were actually doing, and then I looked at what niggas like y'all are doing. And I need y'all to understand this. Y'all keep talking about yourselves like y'all are the alphas, but let's be real. Nobody that regularly posts in the Coliseum was ever going to be homecoming king in their high school. All y'all niggas, just keeping it real, are just like me. So it really blows my mind. Like, it truly has me stuck how some of you don't see how the things I talk about and the ways I talk about these issues are not some like barrier to greater black masculinity, but they're like a way out. That's why I've got a following. It's not because I'm the most alpha Chad dude. It's not because I am obviously the most successful, most masculine, most whatever guy you've ever seen on the internet. It's because I'm kind of a normal nigga. Yet you see the wife and kids, you see the success, you see a lot of the things y'all aspire to that I don't even like. I could be a lifestyle influencer right now. I could be belief in family. I could be doing that shit. I could be doing a whole lot of things. Now that I've gotten this platform, I don't need to make 2-hour-long anti-policing videos. I could just be having images of me playing with my kids, opening up Target bags, and make way more money than I'm making recording this right now at 10 o'clock at night. But I'm not passionate about that like that. I'm passionate about the fact that in 3 years, I've built a platform bigger than any black male making the type of content that I'm making, like, period. And although I am very critical of the nature of fandom and like influencer culture and stuff like that, I feel like I'm doing something useful, or I would stop doing it because I don't care that much about this shit. Why is it so important to y'all that I hate black women? Y'all are watching my videos on a regular basis saying, yup. Ooh, that's a good point. Oh shit, he cooking. This is great. But what about black women? What about what the black women doing? What about the divestors? Well, we don't go there. This might end up being a long one because none of that shit was on the script. That was niggas just tired. Y'all just caught me at a good time. Let me get back on track in this motherfucker.
Brad, girl, I'm telling you, dealing with a black man, you're going to be limited. You're going to be limited to the ghetto. You're going to be limited to the hood and blaming the white man for everything. See, I'm at a point where I don't give a damn. I can watch Mississippi Burning, I can watch a slave movie, and I laugh.
I'm listening to Homeboy's video. He said something that I thought was really deep and profound and kind of powerful in terms of like how it made me think and reflect on how we get to this point. He says something like, I know FD is simping because he's had to have heard how black women denigrate black men in favor of white men all the time and say that white men know how to really treat a woman, and that it was impossible that I didn't hear that same type of denigrating, disrespectful rhetoric growing up that he did. And I hate to tell you this, and I don't mean any harm in this, but no, I didn't hear shit like that. And again, this is coming from a dude that was not like King Dingaling popular nigga in high school and college. And I never, ever in all of my romantic failures, in all of my connections with black women, was made to feel like these women preferred white men over black men. That is completely foreign to me. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, and we know there's a community that definitely feels like that. But I've never heard black women talk about preferring white men over black men. I just haven't. But I have to believe, and I want to express to everyone else watching, that my experience isn't as universal as I'd like to think. And I do think this explains I haven't made it about the hood yet, y'all. I am not Hassan. I don't have the socialist money. And I think this explains a portion of their behavior and why they come off so bitter and almost irrational in their need to hyper-focus all their pain and anger towards women. So I actually had a conversation with someone who I would say is in the divester sphere. And there I made an argument that I think people who are very critical of black men often don't seem to understand, that I think helps explain some of these pain points, which is understand that there is a hierarchy, a strata in how black men are treated in society and how the good ones are treated versus every other nigga in the world. And this has ramifications in education, employment, intimate partnerships. There's a big gap in the experiences of black men who embody these ideal traits of masculinity and those who do not, or worse yet, those who might be labeled as bad or deviant or thugs or miscreant. Like for me, I was always a decent student and was mostly quiet and followed rules. And because of that, I think I got opportunities that other boys, especially those labeled bad, did not. I got second chances that other kids labeled bad did not. That bad label, once it gets put on a boy, it all but ensures the worst possible treatment and the worst possible outcomes for that child. And the same can definitely be said for little black girls. This is all very documented for both black boys and girls, but at the risk of playing Oppression Olympics, which I promise you I'm not going to do too much in this video, I'm constantly faced with the fact that I don't think people are aware of how this hierarchy affects black men and boys. And I think this is something black men and black women don't seem to fully get. Not saying one is worse than the other, not saying they're the same. In fact, I'm trying to explain that they're different. A perfect example of how this manifests and people aren't aware of it happened in 2016 when Yale did a study on implicit bias that really illustrated the problem.
In 2016, researchers at Yale showed teachers this video clip of 4 preschool students. Their instructions: look for misbehavior and click when you see it. The study was kind of deceptive. None of the kids in the video actually misbehaved. The researchers were using eye tracking software. What they actually wanted to study was who the teachers were watching. Both black and white teachers spent significantly more time watching the black boy in the video. This study showed that even preschool teachers can treat kids differently based on their race without even realizing it.
So I want y'all to really engage with what happened here. Even for black teachers, let's be real, black woman teachers, women make up like 90% of all teachers. And if you go to a black school, you're going to see that school is probably 70, 80% black women. Right? And it's not to say that black men don't do it, but like that is a thing that you have to contend with in terms of how this happens. They still were biased against the black male child. They still over scrutinized this black boy. This is the reality that I think black men aren't always fully like cognizant of, but we feel that shit. We know we are always under unfair scrutiny. And if you're looking for misbehavior, just like stop and frisk or directed policing, you're going to find that shit. I say all of this to say that in some way, some of these manosphere dudes are really stuck on that reality, this issue of hypervigilance towards black men that they don't think anybody cares about or sees. Or more significantly, they don't think it's possible to notice it unless you're blaming it on black women. And the reason they feel that is these dudes, I think, genuinely feel like black women hate them. I've heard some of them say this. I've seen them on Reddit. I've seen them in their message boards. They're gonna deny it in the comment section. Some of them won't, but they feel that. To be clear, it's not atypical for a black man to walk around feeling like the world hates them. Like, nigga, that's Tupac, you know, that's Biggie, that's DMX, that's the Locks. That's so much of hip hop is a response to a world that feels hateful and spiteful towards your existence, right? So I get that. But there's also a lot of misogyny and entitlement and gender conflict in that response as well, because for some of these dudes, they're like, she don't want to go out with me, she must hate black men. Like, let's keep it a buck, y'all. That's how y'all niggas got here in the first place. Not here, but like to where y'all are at, right? And this is where I have to start breaking my rule to talk about the divestors again. Because as much as I don't like and don't want to talk about the divestors, these dudes, like, that is the thing they hate about me the most. They want me to talk about divestors. They want me to do rage bait, and they don't realize that's what they're asking for, which is ironic because that's exactly what the divestors do. That's why they get mad when I'm nice about Jada Pinkett, when I don't want to hate on Sukihana or Sexy Red or something. I don't want nothing to do with divestors for multiple reasons. It's two things. One, I need y'all to understand that these are insignificant small channels. They're only significant to y'all because y'all are fucking weird. Right? Y'all are addicted to this shit. Y'all don't believe me. But like when people be saying touch grass, and I understand touch grass can come off a little ableist. Not everybody's able to touch grass right now. COVID is still outside. Like it's literally outside at this point. But like at least get off the internet, because y'all are so sucked into these spaces. So much Reddit and Twitter and, you know, arguments and whatever message board angry about black women that y'all like are not actually interacting with black women in real life, or at least seeing anything but this myopic feed of negative black women images all the time. That's why y'all feel the way y'all feel and think what y'all think, and then get surprised at the fact that I have a huge black male audience and y'all don't. Like the #1 divestor channel, if I'm not mistaken, it was probably around 200,000 subscribers, got demonetized a few weeks ago. And like, think about all the Black Manosphere channels. Most of them aren't 200,000, but many of them are, and larger, that have not been demonetized. And I don't think you can find more than 2 other divestor channels with over 100,000 subscribers. And if you look at their videos, if you look at the actual view count for their videos, they're not hitting them numbers regularly. They're just not. And again, half of those views be from y'all. Y'all are all in their comment section. Y'all are retweeting them, reposting their stuff, saying, look at this. Look at how angry it is. Insert the clip of me doing that from the Rage Bait video. This is y'all. Like, look at this. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? Watch it again. Oh, let me share it for other people. Watch. Look at how bad this is. Look at it. The thing I need y'all to understand about how the algorithm works is that if I talk about the divestors between 2 channels now with, again, 750,000 subscribers, what I'm actually doing is putting like a bat signal on my channel for divestor channels so that their viewers come and watch me talk about them, and then my viewers will fuck around and go see what the hell they're about. I can guarantee you one of the top comments you're gonna see in the comment section of this video is, what the fuck is a divestor? Nobody knows about these women except y'all. Now I want to be clear to people who don't know about them, please do not seek them out. You can look at my Black Manosphere video for more like explicit breakdown, but even then I cut it shorter than it could be, because like if I wanted to do a deep dive on divestors, that would be a very interesting video because they are a uniquely sick, vile bunch of people. But the gist of it is, like, imagine if like the alt-right were made up of black women. That's kind of hyperbolic, but it is true. They will say that they just care about black women's empowerment, and they started out as a group of women that just wanted to divest from black men, as in seek out white or maybe Asian men. Anytime you make white men the center of your online community, you are going to attract racism and really fucked up shit. It's just white supremacy is going to follow. That's just how that works.
Brad has an actual conversation that goes beyond, you know, the stuff that they talk about in Blackistan. I learned like the hedge fund. I learned a lot about trading and marketing and all kind of stuff dealing with Brad, girl. I'm telling you, dealing with a black man, you're going to be limited. You're going to be limited to the ghetto. You're going to be limited to the hood and blaming the white man for everything. See, I'm at a point where I don't give a damn. I can watch Mississippi Burning. I can watch a slave movie and I laugh. I literally laughed the other day when I watched a slave movie. I was like, look at these big burly black men. They're sitting there with chains around their necks and they're pissed off. You know, it's like, you're so big and black. Like, I thought black men were chains. You know what I mean? So
imagine if you constantly consume stuff that sounded like this on a regular basis. How would you view black women? Then imagine if you had that black female teacher that stigmatized you. Then imagine if you have had really poor success with black women in terms of romantic experiences. Or you do see how on the news, it's often black women commentators stigmatizing black men and spreading lies about black men getting ready to vote Republican. Like, that's something I talked about a little while ago when Stacey Abrams was running for governor in Georgia and everybody was trying to say, ooh, black men didn't vote for Stacey Abrams. And then you look at the data and black black men were the #1 group of men voting for Stacey Abrams by a wide margin. Stacey Abrams, a black woman, got more black male votes than any other politician that year. So there is a problem with how black men are perceived in the media and how it often feels like nobody but other black men are willing to defend the way black men are depicted. But part of that challenge is that those black men who do get the attention refuse to acknowledge how what they're doing is harmful to everybody else. Like, one thing that divestors do is they will hyper focus on all of these awful stories about black men committing crime or doing some other horrible shit. And just like the black manosphere people, like, the irony is that divestors and black manosphere people are almost exactly the same, in that divestors do all this commentary and have all their chats and group panels about insert awful black manosphere red pill podcast thing. And it doesn't take much to recognize how that creates this image of how black men hate them. But the difference is, and y'all not gonna like hearing this, they have much better evidence. They just do. Like, first and foremost, so many of these women have been victimized in some way by black men. It's just facts. The same way I don't know any black woman that has said to me out loud that they prefer white men. Almost every black woman I know has also been a victim of some type of assault throughout their life by a black man. Now, of course, that's not unique to black men, but it is the reality that they're facing. We did have a girl get hit with a brick a couple of months ago, and a bunch of niggas online called her a liar. We did have Meg Thee Stallion get shot by whatever dude's name was a couple of years ago, and for 2 years, dudes made it their whole personality to call her a liar. We still have people defending R. Kelly, defending Bill Cosby. Now they're defending Diddy. They're defending Keke Palmer's husband. We don't even know this dude. Like, that's how I know y'all are not serious. This is just about hating black women. With the Bill Cosby thing, I understood it from a sentimental standpoint. Like, that's Bill Cosby, right? You want to defend Bill Cosby. None of y'all can tell me Keke Palmer's husband's name without Googling this shit. But y'all are riding hard for that cat. These black women see that, and that becomes the greatest divestor recruiting opportunity that they have. And they keep having that shit over and over again because y'all niggas, again, y'all are symbiotic, meaning that y'all feed off each other. Y'all need each other's content to keep feeding this worldview that sadly both of y'all are stuck in. One of the sad things I noticed, especially researching for sport economics, but also just in general paying attention to these spaces, is if you pay attention, these are some really depressed, really down bad people. When I go into some of the divestor spaces and I look in their comment sections and I look at their Reddits and spaces like that, you see posts by black women about feeling hopeless, about feeling like nobody loves them, about feeling like the world and black men hate them, and how they're so tired of feeling invisible and hated by black men. And I get that to an extent is reflected in reality, much more than it is reflected by most of these manosphere niggas. But it's still a view of reality that is greatly warped by the consumption of all this stuff online. And I just finished talking about how these black manosphere dudes, despite wanting to defeat and, stop the divestors, want me to amplify them in my content so that they have somebody that is as big as me saying that they see the same things they say, to validate their addiction to arguing with these women online. Again, both of y'all need to touch grass, but I don't find myself being very comfortable saying that all that much to black women. And I want to be clear, while these two communities are uniquely toxic and ugly and are responsible for a lot of pain and suffering online, manosphere and the black manosphere, much bigger, much more attractive to men and black men, and requires way more attention, and specifically attention that I uniquely can give and address. The divestors are not that. They just aren't. I know this hurts y'all to hear this, but this is a really good joke I made. Here it is. These manosphere dudes are telling on themselves with their concentration on this small niche group. Sure, they're awful, but it's two different levels of a problem.
Yeah, I got a package. No! Get your dog!
So this is one of the rare cases where the best thing to do is act like they don't exist. Because if you did, gentlemen, if y'all acted like these women didn't exist, you would improve your lives so much. Because Here's the real thing that would happen if I spent more time criticizing black women. I wouldn't lose my black female fan base. I'd lose my black male fan base, because that shit is weird. Niggas don't want to hear about this shit. Black men as a whole want to get along with black women. And there's kinks and problems and challenges within that get along context. The gender wars is still a real thing, right? But they don't hate black women. Black men love black women. They just maybe need to learn how to do it more effectively. And I will say the same thing is true for black women. What they don't want is a bunch of musty niggas in a chat room or a message board complaining about how black women hate black men and, you know, Sandry and septum ring theory and all the stuff y'all do. All the stuff y'all do, for lack of a better way of putting it, is scaring the hoes. I'm FD Signifier, and this was light work.